Hey guys, so like promised, today's part 2 of my last video, which was yesterday, so I'm going to link that in the description. You can watch that first and then come here so you know what I'm talking about, because otherwise you'll be very confused. So let's just continue from where we left off, but before we get into that, make sure you subscribe because YouTube is once again unsubscribing people pretty badly, so just scroll down, make sure you still are subscribed. If this is your first time, please subscribe. Turn your post notifications to all rather than personalized so you actually know when I'm posting a video. My social media as well as my puppy social media will be in the description, along with my beauty channel, which is very fun. So there have been some tweets since my last video and I'm gonna go over those. So in my last video I spoke about the fact that Dixie was dancing to Trisha Paytas saying the N-word. I didn't have like the experience to talk about that. Obviously I'm not a black person, so there's just nothing that I can really like add to that conversation. But someone who's a black woman spoke out. So Jackie Heiner posted on her Instagram saying, dancing to a video of somebody using the N-word to prove a point or clap back isn't funny or cute. It just looks like she was trivializing and making a joke out of black trauma. A lot of people on TikTok play way too much and it really needs to stop. Unless it's black people ourselves pointing out the irony, stop using us for your little clapbacks, please. Thanks. So I've seen this general consensus that you shouldn't be using someone being racist or problematic as a gotcha moment, which is what's happening now. It's like, I don't know, Trisha says something and then Dixie's like, gotcha, you said the N-word, and then Trisha claps back and is like, gotcha, your dad's a Republican. Like it's a lot of like trying to use that as like a weapon. So once again, weaponizing information against people, not because you genuinely feel passionately about those things, because it's just like a good opportunity to bring it up to spite someone, if that makes sense. Essentially what people are saying is, if you had an issue with this, you should have spoken up about it before and not when you have beef with the person, because then it just looks like you're weaponizing information against them. So you're like holding on to info until it's useful and then you use it. So basically just what like Trisha Paytas and Jeffree Star does. They don't actually care about people being problematic, they just use it when they have a vendetta against someone, and that's kind of what this whole situation looks like. So then Dixie tweets out saying, I posted a TikTok with the intention of making a point that didn't need to be made. I took it down and I sincerely apologize for posting it in the first place, and I'm so thankful for everyone. I'm wishing you all a great weekend and thank you again for the love and support. So whatever you think about that is your prerogative. In my last video I kind of mentioned ish in a screenshot that Charli D'Amelio did actually hit 100 million, so she was on like 96-ish. She lost over 1 million followers from this whole situation. Now she hit 100 million. So James tweeted out saying, congratulations at Charli D'Amelio, I can't even believe this is real. I am so incredibly proud of you and your growth. And she said, James, thank you. You have been such a mentor to me throughout this entire journey and I'm so happy to have you in my life. While all of this was happening, obviously James Charles was posting videos kind of shading people here and there, and Jeffree Star posted this Instagram story.
Too busy worrying about me, myself, my family, and I don't care. I don't entertain it. So if you were friends with me and you're not anymore, keep my name out of your mouth.
And it's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Why are you screaming? Sir, please stop. He just wants to insert himself into drama. He just released like a Christmas collection launch thing, and obviously Blood Money is still up, so I'm assuming he's just trying to get himself involved in drama because he sees it's like a big deal with Dixie and Charli being some of the biggest creators on the platform, James Charles, Trisha Paytas, it's a whole situation. He thought, let me jump in, and then he quickly deleted the Instagram story because it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to scream at a camera. He's so weird. It's just a weirdo, okay? He's a weirdo and he's a loser. And the only way he can be successful at this point is if he inserts himself into drama. And he can't even do that properly. Like, at least back in the day, Jeffree Star could insert himself into drama and actually make it interesting. And now it's just embarrassing. Please stop. On behalf of everyone, stop. So then there was another situation that Trisha Paytas used to, I guess, weaponize. There is a black conservative woman on TikTok who basically said that, like, in her household, her son won't be wearing a dress. In my opinion, that's wrong. But obviously, she's the parent. It's her household. I don't agree with it in any way, shape or form, but I'm not also going out and like leaving hate under her videos or anything like that. It's not really going to do much. She's got the opinion that she has, and considering it's probably rooted in like a deeper thing, nothing we say is really going to change that. I definitely don't agree with it though. I think everyone should have the right to do whatever they feel comfortable doing and wear what they feel comfortable wearing, and yeah, that's just my opinion on that, but it's my opinion. And definitely was tweeted out saying, today an instant regret. James Charles leaves nasty comment telling TikToker to never have children. Immediately deletes comment after getting backlash. So he basically just said to her, like, you should never have kids, which she already has kids. So a bit too late for that. And then she posted TikTok back basically just saying like, my house, my rules, deal with it. And she basically was just like, why would you insert yourself into my family affairs? So people were on both sides of things. Some people agreed with James saying it's homophobic, it's transphobic, just in case, the son is wearing dresses because he's in like a transitional period of trying to figure out his gender. People were basically just saying like it's not appropriate for her to say stuff like that. And then some people were disagreeing with James and basically just saying that it's a microaggression and that he only ever targets black women, and if this was a white woman, he wouldn't even pay attention to it. Now, I don't know what side you lean on. James, you know, did he need to? I mean, kind of, because he is a gay man in the industry who wears makeup, and clearly this is something that, like, if his parents weren't comfortable with this situation, then he wouldn't be where he is right now, and he wouldn't have the freedom and the happiness, I guess, in himself if his parents didn't support him. So I guess he's coming at it from that point of view of just like, let your kids do what they need to do to understand themselves and figure themselves out. There's two sides to the story. Some people are agreeing with her, some people are agreeing with him. I think it just depends on kind of like where you stand on everything. Then Trisha tweets out saying, couldn't care less about Charli and her leech of a sister. I hope they succeed at dancing or whatever they do, but James, he's a piece of shit and his parents should be ashamed. Never apologizes, always an excuse, he's always the victim. Impressive. Then James Charles responded to the TikTok saying he was 13 and 17 when he tweeted those tweets. So like, I'm seeing like problematic tweets came out. He claims to have taken accountability 100 times. I was 13 for half of these and 17 for the other half. And although they were ignorant, none of them were posted with malice, and I've taken accountability 100 times. And then Trisha says, and yeah, he still can't say I'm sorry. Surprise, surprise. Obviously talking about the Dixie D'Amelio dancing to the N-word thing. There was an account that Trisha Paytas retweeted saying, racism isn't even real to these people, just something they can weaponize over others for petty fights. Then someone said, they're doing what you did, being controversial for clout. I like you, Trish, but you know this kind of game well. And she said, nah, they're actually just really dumb. They never had to work a minimum wage job, and it shows. And then Trisha Paytas retweets someone saying, James Charles can falsely label someone as a Trump voter, but will somehow seemingly subscribe to Trump's beliefs about don't buy into the BS virtue. They would steamroll any of you without blinking, and they are mad that an actual adult can see them for what they are. And then there's an insider article saying dozens of top influencers gathered for a massive hype house birthday party despite record COVID numbers in California. I've had so much coffee that I literally just can't read. Like, it's almost like my brain is reading things too fast for my mouth to keep up. Then she says, how are the D'Amelio parents or management not stepping in and be like, hey, maybe don't dance to the N-word? Like, someone wrangle these poor kids. Just wild in. They definitely need better PR. It looks a mess for the most popular girl on social media right now. Your entitlement is showing. Why are these little dime a dozen TikTok people so annoying? Usually I enjoy a little serve back and forth, but they're just gnats with no brains, and it's almost sad like sick dogs. Where are their parents for real? Imagine thinking going to Saddle Ranch is elite. Someone said, everyone cancelling at Trisha Paytas right now. Like, ma'am, she can't be cancelled. We love and stand an uncancelable queen. I'll be here forever. Someone says, that was 10 years ago. People have since grown. And she said, lol, literally me singing the N-word was also 10 years ago. Logic, baby. Then Trisha tweets out a screenshot of that same article from Insider and says, hey, why don't you keep spreading ignorant, selfish, entitled pricks? Like, you come and go. Please wear a mask or get the out. And then someone quote tweets that and says, the only argument Charli D'Amelio and James Charles can make is dancing to an old soundbite while not even contextualizing it properly. Weak people will bring up your past to pull you down because they themselves don't have the maturity to self-reflect. And then someone says, I like Lorraine, but I'm tired of hearing everyone has been tested today. Rapid tests are not accurate. I get negative results on a rapid, but my lab test came back positive. And she said this. Okay, so Lorraine then shaded her and was like, good morning to everyone except Trisha Paytas. And she quote tweets it with a tweet from his past from 2011 saying, just came out the mall and the guy at Hot Topic to me. Imagine thinking is a joke. So then under that TikTok that Dixie posted, there were obviously a lot of comments that I spoke about in my last video, and one of them was from Tana Mojo saying, oh my god, and then Trisha Paytas started retweeting tweets saying, hold up, why is Tana commenting on this as if she hasn't said it a million times? And the thing is, Tana should have just sat there and ate her food, because the way she said it is a whole different level of awful. Like, she said it at a black person, full of aggression, hard R, like, it was disgusting. So how about we just don't get involved? So then Trisha and H3 posted a Frenemies podcast about this whole situation, saying it's called Trisha versus Charli and Dixie D'Amelio, Dramageddon 2.0. I mean, Dramageddon 2.0 happened last year. Please keep up, Trisha. Frenemies, let's get it together. And I made some notes. So Trisha starts off this podcast saying that she's excited, which to me is just a bad vibe. I'm like, if you're excited about dragging a 16 and a 19-year-old as a 30-something-year-old woman, tone it down. And then they bring up Wendy Williams. I don't know why Wendy Williams is getting involved, but apparently on her show, she started mocking Charli and saying that she was fake crying on live, when literally this child has been through hell and back in the last year. Of course, she has so many opportunities and she's very lucky to be where she is right now. However, she has been dragged for her looks, for her personality, for her dancing, for her talent, like everything you think of. This 15 back then year old child was being dragged for by millions of people. Wendy Williams, for some reason, needs to get involved and say that this child's fake crying on live. Sure. Okay. Trisha then gives context to the whole situation, explains what happened. H3 does genuinely call her out on multiple occasions, so I'm very grateful for, because the amount of times she says stuff that just is not correct or is not right to say about a 16 and 19-year-old. Anyway, I'm glad that Ethan steps in and immediately goes, well, that's false. That's a little bit too far, Trisha. Please don't say that. Anyway, Trisha then says that she couldn't care less about this whole situation. I'm like, for someone who couldn't care less, you posted about 30 TikToks, if not more. That looks like someone who cares. Because when I say I don't care, I might post a tweet. Maybe 2 at most. Maybe a video, just 1. Or mention it in a video. I don't make 500 TikToks about it. Unless it's an ulterior motive, aka views and money, which they do mention on the podcast. And you know, they don't say specifics, but the way Ethan looked at that screen when she showed him how much she made from the TikToks and how many views she got, he looked shocked. She obviously speaks about the video where Charli's like, oh, I wish I had 100 million. And James says, oh, wasn't 95 million not enough? And Trisha brings it up as if it's like actual shade, like, oh, James called her out. And Ethan, I'm glad, steps in and is like, I think that was a joke. So H3 then explains the whole Dixie thing with some logic, unlike, you know, Trisha. And then he also mentions the fact that they've been given so much over the last year that he's not surprised that this is how they're responding to hate, because it's just like at that point they're so sensitive to it that there's like no other way for them to process this whole situation. So he's giving them some leeway and some credit in this situation where he's just like, look, they're kids being hated on for no reason all the time. So even when there is a valid reason to criticize them for, they're not going to see it as a valid reason because they get hated on for no reason all the time anyway. Then Trisha Paytas says that, no, it's not like they're given for no reason, it's just their true colours are showing. We're talking about Dixie being sensitive to food, eating a snail and throwing up. What true colours are we seeing? I'm so confused. So Trisha Paytas then downplays their reaction to hate comments. So he's like, oh, so she's basically just like, oh, they just have to deal with it. I'm fine, so they should be fine too, when you're literally a grown woman and those are teenagers. Like, their prefrontal cortex is not even fully formed yet. And they're having millions of people express opinions about them on a daily basis. It's very different. And they also seem to care about what people think about them, unlike you, which is why they don't troll people the way you do, because they actually care. So for Trisha to be calling them out just blows my mind. I'm sorry, if anyone else wants to call them out in a very like nice, genuine way, sure. Just be like, hey, I don't want you guys to seem ungrateful, yada yada yada. But for Trisha Paytas to be the one to do this, how about we don't? So H3 then calls her out and is like, why did you make like 1 billion videos on it if you claim to not care? And she has no response. That makes sense. Then it starts going south for me because they both they start making bulimia jokes, which is like an eating disorder where you throw up. And they do that throughout the rest of the podcast. Like, Ethan brings it up now, and then he also brings it up later down the line, which I'm just like, inappropriate. And also, you don't know if Dixie has some kind of an eating disorder, so to bring it up as like a joke, like a punchline in the podcast, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. Then they call out the hypocrisy of James Charles calling out Trisha Paytas, which, hear me out, James Charles has done some problematic things, but he will never be as bad as Trisha Paytas. It will take him a while to get there, so I think there is no hypocrisy. He's made mistakes, but at least he didn't troll people on purpose to hurt their feelings. The amount of communities that Trisha Paytas has disrespected and hurt, taken advantage of. Trisha Paytas basically just is like, oh, I got into drama because I've got bills to pay. She's getting like 250 million views a day on TikTok. Trisha uses the R slur. She says that she thinks they're slow mentally, is the phrase that she uses, and that she thinks they're the R slur. And Ethan jumps in and it's like, hey, that's a slur, you shouldn't be using it. And then she uses it again, and then she's like, oh, well, I didn't know. How can you, at your big age, so you're calling out a 16-year-old for being ungrateful about 100 million followers, and then you're calling out Dixie, a 19-year-old, for throwing up after eating something that she's probably very sensitive to. People don't like experimenting with food sometimes, and then they get really sensitive and they throw up. Very simple stuff. You're calling them out because at the age of 16 and 19, they should know better. But you at the age of 30, 4? Don't know that the R word is a slur that you shouldn't be using. Right. They call out Tana Mojo for obviously that comment that I just spoke about in the comments under Dixie's video, and basically just saying like, look, you have no leg to stand on, Tana, please stop, which I definitely agree with. Tana had no leg to stand on there. Why are you inciting yourself into drama that could backfire on you very easily? You have no leg to stand on, Tana, please stop. So then she calls out Grace Helbig, Tyler Oakley, Connor Franta, and Connor Franta then clips that TikTok bit where Trisha goes very aggressive for absolutely no reason. She basically calls them all mean, says that they like were mean to her at events, they didn't want to talk to her, which like, are you surprised? When you sit on YouTube and you troll people day in, day out, take advantage of minority communities and communities that really just deserve respect, do you expect people at events to just be like, oh my god, hi Trisha, I want to hang out with you so bad? No, these are unproblematic YouTubers in the grand scheme of things. They don't really want to be associated with you, and I completely understand that. But she starts popping off on them, basically calling them irrelevant, where are you guys, all of that stuff, calls them mean, calls them, you know, all sorts of things. And Connor Franta clips that, puts on his TikTok and responds to it. Here's the TikTok.
Who are these people? Grace Helbig. Remember them? They were so cocky.
Grace Helbig.
Tyler
Calm
Oakley,
down.
Connor Franta.
Wait,
Where
why are you laughing on?
Right fucking here, bitch. Living a normal life. Calm down. Jesus.
And James comments under that, just basically saying, I love you. They go over, obviously, Dixie dancing to the N-word and express opinions about that. They also mentioned that, you know, conservative black woman situation that James Charles got involved in. Trisha Paytas basically says they need to suck it up. And H3 says she's a young girl. We can tell who's more mature and grown up in that situation. I think Ethan, you know, he's got a child now. I think he's also looking at it from the perspective of a parent. Like if that was his kid who's 16, still navigating life, prefrontal cortex not fully developed, and getting millions of hate comments and just living life in front of millions of people, I think as a parent you look at that differently, and I think Trisha's just stuck in a 15-year-old brain, so she's not comprehending, which is yeah, it happens with Trisha. And then Trisha Paytas posts a video where she makes mac and cheese and basically just recaps the whole thing, just milking it for what it's worth, and that's that situation for now. I think it's like calmed down now, which sure. What do I think? I think Trisha Paytas needs to just stop. For someone who's done that much damage to so many communities, I think she's the last person I want to be calling out people. People are agreeing with her because I feel like our standards for Trisha Paytas are so low that she could literally not say a slur and we'd be like, you know, sometimes when someone is a morally good person, you have such high standards for them that if they mess up even slightly, you're like so shocked and hurt by it. With Trisha, it's the other way around, where she's so morally skewed that when she just says like one correct thing, one ethically correct thing, you're like, oh my god, you're a genius. So I do feel like people are just hyping her up for no reason. I think, sure, Charli and Dixie should have been called out for just, you know, being kind of like not humble, whatever. I think Dixie had every right to throw up if that's something that she wanted to do. If she didn't want to eat a snail and they forced her to eat a snail and then she threw up, that's not an issue. It's not an ungratefulness thing. Charli saying that she wishes in a year she had 100 million instead of 95. It's purely like a satisfaction thing. We all like milestones. As human beings, we aim for goals. Goals are what motivate you in life. It's a bad thing that she's aiming for more. So you're telling me when YouTubers are like, hi, subscribe because we're about to hit 1 million subs, that's fine. But when she's like, oh damn, like I wish I had 100 million instead of 95 on this like 1 year anniversary, because I think that would be pretty cool and it'd be like a full circle moment, that's bad. And then we still have people like Tony Lopez on the platforms, Zoe Laverne, Nikita Dragon, Bryce Hall, who beats up people on a regular basis. Those people, perfectly fine, still have fans, super forgiven. And then Dixie throws up. Charli says she wants 100 million followers, and all of a sudden they are the worst people on the internet that need to be called out by a 30-something-year-old woman who has done every problematic thing under the sun. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every time something happens. Hit that bell, you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links, beauty channel, affiliate links, any other links in description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.